For more than 3 decades, the global film community and devoted fans alike have carried the heavy weight of profound sorrow over the untimely demise of Brandon Lee, a Hollywood talent on the cusp of superstardom. Cruelly snatched away in the prime of his youth, born into the legendary shadow of his father, the unparalleled martial arts pioneer Bruce Lee, Brandon embodied a promise of excellence that seemed destined to eclipse even the brightest stars. His life, though tragically abbreviated, flickered with the intensity of a comet streaking across the night sky. Brilliant, fleeting, and unforgettable. Yet it was on the fateful set of the Gothic superhero film The Crow in 1993 that destiny delivered its most merciless blow, a prop gun malfunction that transformed a routine scene into a real-life catastrophe, claiming his life at the tender age of 28. The world watched in stunned disbelief as emergency lights pierced the Wilmington night, paramedics racing against time in a battle they could not win. Brandon's passing echoed the sudden void left by his father's death 2 decades prior, amplifying the whispers of a cursed legacy that haunted the Lee family. Fast forward 32 years to 2025, and an extraordinary turn of events has reignited the flames of intrigue and mourning. In the serene confines of Seattle's Lakeview Cemetery, where Brandon shares an eternal vigil beside his father, routine maintenance on his gravesite unearthed a revelation so profound it sent ripples to the entertainment world and beyond. The tomb, undisturbed since that somber interment, yielded secrets that blurred the lines between accident, fate, and foreboding prophecy. What custodians discovered within, not merely relics of a bygone era, but a personal artifact bearing Brandon's own words, has compelled us to revisit the enigma of his death. Was it mere negligence on a chaotic film set, or did darker currents, perhaps predestined by the very bloodline he inherited, propel him toward an identical tragic end? This discovery doesn't merely reopen old wounds. It carves new ones, inviting us to ponder if Brandon, like his father before him, sensed the gathering storm and chose to encode his final truths in a vessel meant for eternity. Brandon Lee's story is one of resilience forged in the crucible of expectation. Arriving on February 1st, 1965, in Oakland, California, amid the electric buzz of the counterculture era, he was the son of icons. Bruce Lee, whose explosive Jeet Kune Do philosophy and silver screen charisma redefined action cinema, and Linda Emery Lee Cadwell, a pillar of quiet strength who navigated the tempest of fame and loss. From his earliest days, Brandon navigated a world where every step was measured against the colossal footprint of his progenitor. Yet, he carved his niche not as a mere echo, but as a distinct voice, blending raw athleticism with a brooding intensity that captivated audiences in films like Rapid Fire and Showdown in Little Tokyo. His role as the vengeful Eric Draven in The Crow was poised to catapult him into the stratosphere, a dark avenger rising from the ashes of personal torment, mirroring the film's themes of resurrection and retribution. The cemetery in question, Lakeview, is more than a repository of the departed. It's a verdant sanctuary overlooking Lake Washington, where Douglas firs whisper elegies to the wind. Here, under a shared headstone etched with dragons symbolizing power and legacy, father and son lie in repose, their bond transcending the veil of mortality. Annual pilgrimages by thousands, fans leaving flowers, notes, and talismans, testify to an enduring reverence. But this devotion exacted an unforeseen toll. The relentless footfall eroded the sanctity of Brandon's plot, manifesting in a jagged fissure across the granite marker and subtle shifts in the soil beneath. Seattle's municipal overseers, ever vigilant about public sites of historical note, petitioned Linda Cadwell for access. At 80 years young, the widow who had already interred her husband in 1973 and her son in 1993 faced an agonizing deliberation. To grant permission meant inviting strangers to breach the hallowed ground, risking desecration of a peace she had fiercely guarded. To refuse invited bureaucratic entanglements that could shudder the sight to admirers worldwide. In a decision laced with maternal torment, Linda acquiesced, stipulating ironclad protocols to honor her child's dignity. The operation unfolded under a bespoke tensile dome, engineered to mimic archival vaults. Temperature regulated to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, humidity capped at 40%, and UV filter illumination to safeguard organic remnants. Security mirrored a film premiere. Perimeter patrols, NDA for all personnel, and live feeds monitored by Linda's trusted advisors. As the Earth yielded to hydraulic precision, yielding the mahogany casket sealed in 1993, the air thickened with anticipation. What lay within would not just mend a cracked stone. It would fracture the narrative of Brandon's life anew, suggesting that the son of the dragon had scripted his own epilogue, one that whispered of inevitability and unyielding spirit. This video delves deep into that revelation, peeling back layers of biography, tragedy, and posthumous mystery. We'll trace Brandon's odyssey from prodigy to icon in waiting, dissect the mechanics of his fatal mishap, chronicle the exhumation's meticulous drama, and confront the artifact that has reignited global discourse. By Journey's End, you'll question not just how he died, but whether he ever truly believed he would live to see the dawn of his own legend. Prepare for a tale that honors the man, challenges the myths, and leaves no stone or grave unturned. Les Racine's Dune legend and Fonzie T. heritage familial. Brandon Lee's genesis was nothing short of cinematic serendipity, a birth scripted amid the kaleidoscopic upheavals amid 1960s America. Oakland, with its bustling ports and simmering civil rights fervor, cradled him on that crisp February morning in 1965. His mother, Linda, a vivacious American of Scottish-Irish descent, had met Bruce during her secretarial tenure at a San Francisco studio where the Hong Kong émigré honed his craft. Their union defied conventions, interracial, intercultural, yielding a family that bridged Eastern mysticism with Western ambition. Bruce, already a whirlwind of philosophy and physique, doted on infant Brandon, nicknaming him the Little Dragon, and envisioning him as a vessel for his revolutionary Jeet Kune Do, a fluid martial ethos that rejected rigid forms in favor of adaptive flow. From toddlerhood, Brandon's world was a dojo of dreams. At age 3, he shadowed his father on sets like The Green Hornet, where Bruce's Kato dazzled with nunchaku spins and lightning kicks. Family lore recounts Brandon mimicking strikes against padded dummies, his tiny fists blurring with precocious fury. By 5, he shattered a 1-inch pine board with side kick, a feat Bruce proudly documented in letters to friends, boasting of a natural-born warrior unburdened by self-doubt. Yet, this prodigious prowess came laced with pressure. Bruce, ever philosopher warrior, instilled not just technique but mindset. Be like water, he'd intone during sunset sparring sessions on the family's Hong Kong balcony during their 1960s expatriation. Water, formless yet forceful, adapting to any container. This mantra seeped into Brandon's psyche, a lifelong compass amid tempests. Exiled to Hong Kong from 1966 to 1971 immersed young Brandon in a bifurcated existence. While Bruce ascended as a Shaw Brothers sensation in films like The Big Boss, Brandon attended elite international schools, navigating Mandarin fluency alongside English primers. The city's neon-drenched streets, alive with junk boat symphonies and incense-laden temples, fueled his imagination. He absorbed Bruce's on-set osmosis, appearing uncredited as a child extra in The Way of the Dragon, dodging fists in the Coliseum brawl that pitted his father against Chuck Norris. These vignettes weren't mere cameos. They were initiations into the alchemy of performance, where physicality met narrative poetry. Returning to U.S. in 1971 amid Bruce's Hollywood breakthrough, the family settled in Bel Air, but paradise proved ephemeral. Bruce's overdose death on July 20th, 1973, officially cerebral edema from pain medication, shattered their idol at age 8, thrusting Brandon into orphanhood's abyss. Grief manifested as mimicry and rebellion. Brandon devoured his father's libraries, Confucius to Krishnamurti, seeking solace in ink-stained wisdom. He trained sporadically with Dan Inosanto, Bruce's protege, channeling sorrow into savate kicks and Wing Chun traps. Yet, the surrogate father figures couldn't fill the chasm. Mirrors reflected a ghost, not a son. Peers at McKinley High in Washington, where the Lees relocated post-tragedy, teased him as the Kung Fu Kid, a moniker that chafed against his budding autonomy. Soccer field became his refuge, cleats pounding turf in defiance of dojos. Linda, remarried briefly to stuntman Bruce Cadwell, observed her son's turmoil with aching empathy, enrolling him in therapy to unpack the legacy luggage, as she termed it. Adolescence amplified the schism. By 14, Brandon's lanky 6-foot frame belied a tempestuous spirit. Expulsion from school for truancy and altercations echoed Bruce's own youthful scrapes in Hong Kong alleys. He hitchhiked coasts, crashing with artist communes, experimenting with poetry slams where verses bled familial hauntings. Shadows of silk screen /punch through my dream/dragons roar, but the echo screams. Music beckoned too, guitar riffs channeling Jimi Hendrix's electric anguish, but acting siren call proved irresistible. A high school drama club stint as Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream unveiled his thespian spark, blending physical comedy with introspective depth. Post-GED in 1983, New York City's Lee Strasberg Institute became his forge. Under coaches like Stella Adler's disciples, he dissected Stanislavski's emotional recall, transforming paternal ghosts into character fuel. Auditions for off-Broadway grit honed a vulnerability absent in Bruce's stoic heroism. Brandon's eyes, dark pools of quiet storm, conveyed multitudes. This era crystallized his divergence. While tabloids clamored for a second dragon, Brandon confided to journals later archived by Linda his aversion to typecasting. Dad was lightning. I want me the thunder that follows, unseen but felt in the bones. Early gigs trickled in. A bit part in the 1985 miniseries Kung Fu, the movie, ironically helmed for Bruce decades prior. As Kai's secret heir, Brandon infused the role with eternal longing, his wire-fu graceful yet grounded. Critics noted the meta-resonance, but he demurred, focusing on craft over coronation. Legacy of Rage, 1986, a Hong Kong noir, where he played a framed ex-con, showcased visceral brutality, knives flashing in rain-slicked alleys, earning underground acclaim. By 1988's Laser Mission, a Namibia-shot espionage romp with Ernest Borgnine, Brandon's charisma eclipsed B-movie trappings. Home video cult status ensued, fans dissecting his improvised ad-libs. Men or Ships deepened his evolution. Reuniting with Inosando in 1989, he taped Jeet Kune Do Evolutions, high kicks chaining into grapples for screen authenticity. Jeet Kune Do's, using No Way His Way, mirrored his career ethos, fluid, unscripted. Romantically, Eliza Hutton entered in 1990, a production assistant whose steadiness anchored his nomadic soul. Their engagement in 1992 symbolized roots amid rhizomatic pursuits. As Rapid Fire, 1992, propelled him toward A-list echelons, showcasing gun-fu ballets against Gary Busey. Brandon confided to Eliza dreams of directing, of helming tales where heroes were invincible but irrevocably human. Yet, whispers of foreboding lace his ascent. Offhand quips to friends, "I'll burn bright but brief, like Dad," dismissed as gallows humor, now retroactively chilling. Interviews reveal a man wrestling predestination. Fame's a jealous lover. It takes more than it gives. In hindsight, these portents frame his trajectory not as ascent, but inexorable orbit toward collision. Part 1 closes on this precipice, a son honoring, yet transcending his father's blaze, unaware that the same embers might consume him. The path to the crow beckons, where destiny's script awaited its final, fatal revision. Le Message Cache, La Lettre, less implications, E.T. law theory do destin. Twilight's indigo veil descended on Lakeview as the preservation cadre reconvened. The dragon-sealed envelope cradled like a fragile relic on Vasquez's nitrile glove palms. Linda, composed yet quivering, nodded assent. The dome's LEDs dimmed archival amber, casting elongated shadows that danced like specters from the crow's underworld. Scalpel incision parted wax with a whisper, resin flaking to reveal vellum folds, ink unfaded by entropy's theft. Unfurling, Brandon's script emerged. Looping cursive, pressure where passion peaked, dated March 25, 1993, 5 days pre-fatality. The chamber hushed, even text paused, breath collective. Text transcribed verbatim, projected on a holographic easel for posterity. Ma chère famille, mon amour eternal Eliza, E.T. les ombres cavalent. Lou voyage que nous avons en thème ensemble, any achieve jamais. Less limitations que vous percevez any sans tu illusions de l'esprit. Soyez comme l'eau. Calais à travers les obstacles, adaptez-vous à UX defis. E.T. trouves la force dans votre absence de for me. Mais par des tout, rappelez-vous ceci. Votre vrai chemin emerge non pas en suivant ma voix, mais en découvrir la votre. Vidas vatri tas por lar implur de vatri proper suggests. Le dragon any mert pa. ILSE metamorphose, eos deploys ver de shoot in explores. Ne plures pa lufuidian, a lumezen a nouveau. Avec tautmon etre, cabrul encore, Brandon, gasps rippled. Linda's sob breaking silence, gone steadying her as tears trace familiar paths. The prose echo Bruce's Tao Jikyun do. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless like water. Yet, Brandon's twist, personal prophetic, infused urgency, metamorphosis, evoking Draven's rebirth, new fire, a bequest beyond grave. Vasquez's paleography confirmed authenticity. Slant-matching 1992 journals. Ink rhodamine base from crow props. How it reached the vault. Consensus. Brandon, sensing omens post-Riggerfall jitters, entrusted it to Stahelski or Proyas for posthumous interment. If the crow calls me early, plant the seed. Unverified, but poignant. Implications cascaded like dominoes. For Linda, validation of unspoken dreads. Brandon's casual prophecies. I'll go out young, brighter than Dad, now etched in legacy. He carried our curse like a crown, she confided post-reveal, voice fracturing. To fans, vindication of synchronicity. The letter's water mantra, scrawled amid Crow's rain-drenched shoots, mirrored his final scene's deluge. X erupted. Hashtag Brandon letter trending globally. Analyses dissecting semiotics. Dragons as Jungian self. Cup emptying as ego death. Skeptics decried hoax. AI forged for clicks. But spectrometry quashed doubts. Foundation releasing scans for peer review. In the hush following the tomb's resealing, Lakeview Cemetery exhales. A verdant exhale carrying Brandon Lee's essence into the ether, where it mingles with his father's undying roar. 32 years after a Wilmington warehouse claimed his spark, this exhumation hasn't merely mended cracked stone. It's resurrected discourse, transforming a private grief into communal gospel. The dragon-sealed letter, with its fluid wisdom and fierce farewell, stands as capstone, not a suicide note, but a phoenix scroll affirming that legacies aren't inherited. They're ignited, one formless flow at a time. We traverse Brandon's arc, from Oakland prodigy kicking boards at 5, through rebellious reigns of Seattle adolescence, to New York's thespian forge and Hollywood's high-wire triumphs. We've lingered in the crow's fatal flicker, where props turn portentous and delve the dome's revelations. Relics whispering of love's endurance, a message etching predestined peace. Theories abound. Curses coil, sabotages shadow, but a letter's light pierces. Brandon, ever the adapter, scripted serenity amid storm, urging us to empty cups of expectation and refill with authentic essence. For Linda, now steward of dual eternities, its solace in sharing. The note's public unveiling via Foundation Gala, October 2025, streams worldwide, proceeds seeding global dojos. Fans from Tokyo cosplayers to LA podcasters etch it into ethos, bewater murals blooming in urban wilds. Eliza's our news. He flows through us all. And you, viewer, does this cryptic coda confirm fate's script or invite your rewrite? Ponder in comments. Hidden layers his words? Alternate endings to his odyssey? Thanks for journeying the shadow path. Like Brandon's crow, may it guide you through your own resurrections. Subscribe for more legends unveiled. Like and share to keep the dragon's fire alight. Until next haunt, be formless, be fierce. Fade to black.